So for context or why you should listen to this, I'm part of a family business that develop industrial land in Vietnam, and we are currently the owner of 5 industrial cluster in the northern region. Our land bank are now a small number, a few hundred hectares, and each year we provide industrial services and investment advisory for a few like hundreds of clients every year. And I'm mostly have been bystanding, watching my father running the business. But this is one of my very first deal, and man, I learned a lot from it. So I want to share this with you guys. Okay, so here is the deal. We have 4 ready-built factories in Bắc Giang City, really near big players like Samsung, Luxshare or Foxconn. And I will add the flycam video for you guys. So like a really hot spot in the northern region right now. The usable space, because each factories are identical, the usable space are nearly 5,500 square meters, and the factory sites are 3,500 square meters. We are currently leasing this for about 19,000 US$ per month pre-VAT tax. So this is a very solid passive income generating asset in the industrial sector. We are looking at a break-even point of about 6 to 7 years after the purchase, and we have in account the rate of leasing are going to be up, not just like right now at $3.5 per square meter. I think will be 3.8 or 4 in the near future. Okay, so I have shown you guys the factories, and now we'll dive deep into the deal and what happened. So we have 2 buyers, one Vietnamese and one Taiwanese, which buying 2 of our 4 factories, and the deal price was $1.3 million. We have everything lined up: the property, the buyers, the contract, but one small thing almost derailed it all, which is the paperwork and the transferring process. And it wasn't just any paperwork, because for the Vietnamese buyer, it's no big deal, right? But for the Taiwanese buyer, the process was a nightmare, because there were government forms, there were registration laws, and more that had to be done in a certain order for them to actually continue to lease the factory. So without all of that, the Taiwanese investor couldn't fucking even touch the factory until the process is fully complete. And it was this classic case of one small mistake was spiraling into other. So let me dive deep into this a bit so you guys know where to find the law on this. For the Vietnamese buyer, according to the Article 37 of the 2020 Vietnam Investment Law, local investors are not required to follow the procedure for obtaining the IRC, which is the Investment Registration Certificate, or in Vietnamese, giấy chứng nhận đăng ký đầu tư. This includes projects like assets, which like industrial real estate, are transferred between Vietnamese entities without any requirements. So their company simply take over the assets, and we only need to help them with the register their leasing functions for their new company or their currently company. But on the other hand, the Taiwanese buyer, as a foreign investor, they have to comply with a much stricter process, because according to still the Article 37 of the investment law, foreign investment projects must apply for an investment registration certificate, which is an IRC, before carrying out any business activity related to investment. This means that even after purchasing the factory, they couldn't immediately lease it or operate it, because they hadn't yet completed the required legal registration to do so. So they first had to establish a business entity in Vietnam, register it under the investment law, and then apply to obtain the leasing functions for their new company. So This all added a significant layer of complexity and delay for the Taiwanese buyer. So as they had to go through this lengthy procedure to obtain the necessary approval and legal status before they could start leasing using the property. So facing with this problem, firstly, the client was insist on using a very common method, which is set up a Vietnamese nominee company. So the idea was to have a Vietnamese person hold the company name to reduce the risk and the complicated procedures. This was a very common method, but they have to know the downside of this method, which is firstly, the Vietnamese nominee would technically hold the company name and shares, which could lead to a lack of true control by the foreign investor. Secondly, the Vietnamese government may view the structures as an attempt to circumvent laws intended to protect domestic interests, leading to potential legal challenges or penalties. So, foreign investors might also face difficulties with the enforcement of contracts or property rights if they do not have the full legal control. And thirdly, if the foreign buyer plans to sell or transfer the business in the future, it could be more complicated to do so due to the nominee structure, especially if the Vietnamese nominee retain control of the key share or assets. So this method is very common, but only if the nominee are some Vietnamese people who you really trust. But mostly I see it fucked up people all the time because they trust the Vietnamese people that they don't really know, like their translator or someone who they got introduced to. Okay, so it would be a very quick entry method but pose significant risks related to control, legality, and long-term operational stability. So after a while, we propose to set up a subsidiary method, which is to set up a subsidiary company and to transfer the assets. So this option was quicker. We will create a new subsidiary company from our company, the company that owns the whole industrial cluster. So then we will transfer the property to the company, and we'll have the subsidiary company register the leasing rights right away. Yes, so there were taxes and fees for setting up and transferring the asset, but it was much easier for the Taiwanese client and faster to get anything done. And in the long run, I think they would not need to face somebody backstabbing them or somebody fuck them in the ass. Okay, so it cost us some money, tax and fees, but it was a clean and fast solutions. Okay, so after waiting both solution, and so I have just explained the full deal, and we are in the finalizing stage of the deal, and very lucky they listened to us and chose to go with the second method. So here's the key takeaway: if you are going to invest in industrial real estate in Vietnam, just don't rush into it. Don't trust the people too much, and you actually need to go with the people that charge the most money, but go with the law. So understand the paperwork first, get local advice, understand the regulations, and don't be afraid to ask questions even if they seem simple, because trust me, the small mistake will cost you big money. And if you are a foreign investor looking to tap into Vietnam industrial real estate market or need help navigating these deals, so let's talk. I've learned a ton from this process, and I can help you avoid the same mistake that I made. The information is in the descriptions. Reach out and let's make sure your investment journey is smooth and profitable. Thank you.